Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
He's an awesome principal and just leading an awesome school.
Meet Jeff Earn, who is making the grade by receiving a nationwide top honor in education. Plus, Montana Senator Steve Daines continues to throw his support behind the Canadian truckers blocking the border. We'll hear from him. And COVID-19 cases continue to explode in Montana with another single-day record. We'll break them down. Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for wrapping up your week with us. I'm Russ RIesinger. Our top story tonight, a popular Red Lodge teacher shares a firsthand account of why he's being fired from his job. Steve Morris tells MTN he's accused of threatening a student, but says he doesn't recall it happening. He sat down with us today to talk about those allegations and the support he's now receiving from many in the community.
I probably should be mad about that, but I'll be honest, I'm not. I'm not dismayed. I am emboldened.
Sarah Givetti opposed. Tiffany Bray opposed. Olivia Heimer and I opposed.
In my opinion, yesterday, Red Lodge represented both its best and its worst simultaneously. An awakening of the community. At 1 p.m. on a Thursday, people took vacation days to be there yesterday.
The crowd of supporters at Thursday's school board meeting, evidence of Stephen Morris's popularity as a middle school social studies teacher and coach. But the former Marine didn't get high marks from everyone during his less than 3 years of teaching, admitting he'd been placed on an improvement plan just last year.
In the month of April last year, I was notified I was placed on a plan of improvement because of written complaints submitted to the district by my colleagues in the middle school. As I spoke to you on the phone earlier, I have not seen those complaints. I couldn't tell you who they were made by. I have not had the full opportunity to respond to them.
Morris was rehired for a third year at the school, and he says things had been going well until about 30 days ago.
Received my last eval on December 15th of this year. It was glowing. According to my principal, he was very kind and considerate at that time. And then on January 5th, I was placed on administrative leave with pay by Red Lodge School District because of allegations that I had verbally threatened a student. As I stated before, I have had 30 days now to try and recall that engagement. I do not.
Morris would not offer us any other details about what the allegations against him entail, only that it's not anything he remembers.
I have thousands, as do all teachers, I have thousands of student engagements on a daily basis, depending on your teacher-student ratio. And that's not to make an excuse. But I wish I did recall it. Believe me, I wish I did. I wish I could speak to it. Morris
says it troubles him the most that the student wouldn't have felt comfortable approaching him. As for his future, he says he's now considering resigning before the school year ends.
I'm not going to speculate as to why the board made the decision that they did, the way they voted, the information that they were privy to or not. I stand by my conduct and my character. I am. That is a non-negotiable position for me.
A vigil is being held tomorrow evening for Cohen Parker, the 15-year-old who was killed near Castle Rock Park late last month. The family's holding the vigil as a call for justice for Cohen and to bring awareness to recent violence in Billings. The remembrance is scheduled for 5:30 at the Yellowstone County Courthouse. The community is encouraged to wear pink and bring vigil signs. Cohen was killed on Sunday, January 16th, and there have still been no arrests in that case, despite multiple witnesses to the shooting. Well, it was another record day on the COVID-19 front as Montana saw nearly 4,400 cases, a new single-day high. However, it's expected that some of that spike is due to correct numbers from earlier in the week when reporting computers had some technical difficulties. Yellowstone County confirmed 633 of the new cases, with the active total now sitting right below 3,000. 328 Montanans remain in the hospital this hour, and more than 3,000 have passed away from the virus since the pandemic began. Well, Matt's in for Ed tonight, and we're going to be seeing some more winds as we head into the weekend, huh?
Yeah, these winds are going to pick up tonight and stick with us through the weekend. Let's take a look at some of those watches and warnings here. So for the Billings area and east into the eastern plains, we're going to see these gusty winds through tomorrow morning, gusts up to 55 miles per hour possible. Now for areas west of Billings in that tan shaded area and north in those red shaded areas, you're going to see these gusty winds through tomorrow afternoon. For the Livingston and Nye area, 70 miles per hour are possible. Big Timber, Columbus, and North could see gusts up to 65 miles per hour. Now, as it stands right now, we're supposed to expect these strongest winds tonight, but we'll keep an eye on that. We'll have those full forecast details and what to expect coming up in a little bit.
Well, this was the scene this morning in Belgrade as a historical grain elevator was destroyed by flames this morning. Fire crews from 4 different areas all responded to that blaze, with resources even requested from the state fire marshal. MTN's Edgar Cedillo has been on the scene throughout the day and has the latest tonight.
Really scary moment.
Smoke billowing above Belgrade, leaving morning commuters all over the Gallatin Valley wondering what was burning.
That was just after that one tower had collapsed. Went into a break room and to make coffee, and I smelled a really hot smell.
That smell? A massive fire.
So I called my coworker and I said, can you smell what I'm smelling?
At a grain elevator in downtown Belgrade.
Walked out the front door and he said, Barb, call 911.
What Barb and her coworker at Rocky Mountain Supply saw was a grain elevator near downtown Belgrade going up in flames.
Shortly after 7 o'clock this morning, our crews received a report of a smoke coming from a grain elevator.
A grain elevator fire, always a challenge for fire crews. Temperatures well below freezing, and crews from across the county had an uphill battle on their hands.
So our crews have been very cautious throughout the scene.
Around 20 minutes after crews responded to the fire, the grain leg of the elevator collapsed, according to Zalomi, leading fire crews to fight the fire from above.
It's certainly startling, but our crews maintained safety throughout.
Throughout the afternoon, crews worked to put out spot fires. Zalomi tells MTN News that they are in contact with the owners of the grain elevator, Columbia Grain, in Oregon, to discuss next steps that it could include demolishing the middle section of the elevator.
I just, hope and pray that no one gets hurt.
Now the cause of the fire is still under investigation. In Belgrade, Edgar Cedillo, MTN News.
Senator Steve Daines said today that he remains, quote, proud of Freedom Convoy truckers protesting COVID policies in Canada. That protest that has backed up traffic at the border crossing between Couts, Alberta and Sweetgrass entered its 7th day today, and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police are unsure when the remaining blockade will clear. Trucks gathered last Saturday in support of the cross-Canadian convoy, which reached Ottawa, demonstrating against government mandates for vaccinations. Arrangements have been made to open one lane of traffic so some deliveries are getting through to Montana. Daines said he's not surprised by the demonstrations, reflecting back on his meeting with Montana trucking companies late last year, where operators expressed similar concerns about U.S. requirements.
Don't pass the common sense test for these truckers. I say, what about natural immunity? Why isn't that figured into the calculus in terms of immunity? Why have the people in D.C. lost their minds as it relates to how they're trying to manage this pandemic? And the frustration has risen. They risk perhaps anywhere from 10 to 30% of their workforce could lose their jobs over these mandates at a time when we don't have enough positions filled to begin with.
Well, Wyoming Republican Representative Liz Cheney was censured today by the Republican National Committee for her involvement on the Democratic-led Select Committee investigating the January 6th riots. The RNC also censured Illinois Representative Adam Kinzinger for his role in the investigation. The measure means that the Republican Party will immediately cease any and all support of them as members of the party. The move comes after the Republican committee chose to rewrite the resolution to simply censure the lawmakers instead of expelling them from the Republican House Conference. Cheney has been one of the most vocal Republicans in her opposition to former President Donald Trump and his efforts to overturn the results from the 2020 election. Cheney was not surprised by the move and offered this statement saying, quote, I'm a constitutional conservative, and I do not recognize those in my party who've abandoned the Constitution to embrace Donald Trump. History will be their judge. I will never stop fighting for our constitutional republic. Cheney's facing an intense primary fight for re-election as her opponent has received an endorsement from Trump.
Despite a tumultuous school year amidst a pandemic, Billings Senior High principal was chosen as Montana's Principal of the Year. Today, I got a first-hand look at why Jeff Earn deserves this prestigious award.
I'm gonna do it like that one over there, but then we just decided to keep it with the Montana. Oh, cool.
It's easy to see why Jeff Earn is Montana's 2022 Principal of the Year. He jokes around with his staff. He's there when you need him.
You see him, it's kind of like walking past your friend.
And most importantly, his students love him.
You guys made it. It's so awesome. He's so deserving of it, and we've always known that, and it's awesome that like the rest of Montana gets to see what kind of guy he is.
Born and raised in Billings, Earn has been at senior high for 24 years.
I started out here teaching math, and then around 2005 I got into the assistant principal position, and then the last 6 years as principal.
Little did he know that he would be named 2022 Montana Principal of the Year.
From the staff to the students, parents, alumni, this is a community award for sure.
Jeff was nominated for the award by his staff. English teacher Jenny Fleek Arney has known him since they were kids.
He's so deserving. He has such compassion, and he's filled with such leadership skill. He makes everyone in this building feel important, and we know that we can come to Jeff at any time.
A principal loved by both staff and students.
Honestly, I'm not surprised. He's a great guy, down to earth.
Makes me feel proud, because senior high is just a great environment. It's got good people.
And for Jeff, he's just happy to be a part of his students' lives.
Favorite part about being a principal is working with the students, just quality kids.
And they're happy to be in his.
We just care about him so much because he cares about us so much, and so it's really not surprising, and I'm super happy for him.
In Billings, Alina Howder, MTN News.
Looking for more positive news? We've got a newscast just for you, highlighting all of the good things happening across Montana. It airs Saturdays and Sundays on our Q2 streaming app, and you can also find those stories anytime on demand at ktvq.com. Well, still to come on the MTN 530 News on Q2, a boon for business. Antique and thrift stores have seen an uptick in customers over the last year. We'll tell you why. And in sports, the Rams of Central are back in action tonight. We'll get you ready for their big matchup against Livingston coming up in just a bit.
The MTN 530 News continues right after this. From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 530 News.
Antiquing, thrifting, and secondhand shopping has enjoyed a surge over the last decade, being featured in popular music and noted as a more sustainable option than buying new. Well, now it's enjoying another increase in popularity as a way to beat supply chain issues impacting some Montana retail businesses. MTN's Jordan Johnson has more.
In Helena, stores like Golden Girls Antique Mall have seen a spike in customers, and shoppers say that they have seen an increase in people looking for unique secondhand gifts.
It's an amazing assortment of people, younger folks nowadays, who seem to appreciate more things from the past.
Sally Orlando is 75 years old and loves to go to antique shops to revisit memories of the past.
Because this is worth hanging on to, and it's worth making sure it lasts.
Like Orlando, many people have turned to secondhand shops like thrift stores and antique shops to find furniture and furnishing for their homes, never knowing what the store has to offer.
Anytime we're traveling or anything, we hit all the antique stores along the way just to see if you find a nice little treasure you've never seen before, so you just never know.
In 2018, nearly 9.7 million tons of furniture were thrown in landfills in the U.S., according to the EPA. And sustainable stores like Golden Girls first were impacted by the pandemic due to shutting down for 7 weeks. But since then, a steady increase in people longing for pre-owned items, as well as shopping locally.
The challenges of COVID have been just a monster, and shopping local keeps us a community, and that's what we want to be. Is we want to be one loving community here in Helena, and we want to be part of that too.
The 10,000 square foot store on North Last Chance Gulch offers new customers and regulars a taste of the past, and are open Monday through Saturday 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. and Sundays 12 p.m. to 4. In Helena, Jordan Johnson, MTN News.
Well, coming up in weather, it was a warmer day, but unfortunately that came with a cost. Matt's in next with the full 7-day forecast.
The MTN 530 News continues right after this.